Warriors of the Imperium, please lend me your ears, because we're about to go down the good old fairy hole. Because today we're going to be talking about Ghazghkull and his potential revenge for Commissar Yarrick. So let's jump in and let's get talking. Now, just so we're all on the same page, if you haven't watched my video from a couple of days ago, I'm just going to re-summarize it here. Basically, Commissar Yarrick has died in the new Imperial Codex. There is a page dedicated to Yarrick, which is kind of like a memoriam page. Apparently on that page is like his skull, well, his body, and you see his skull, and he's got his hat on, and he's got these little, you know, little eyepiece and stuff like that. But basically, the big news is that he's dead. He's absolutely dead. Now, on that page, there is some text that has a lot of redacted stuff on there, which we'll get back to in a second. But mostly, it's like, you know, hail the glorious dead, etc., etc., etc. But the main news is that Yarrick is dead. He's no longer around in Warhammer 40,000. Now, in that video, I said, well, that makes no sense because, of course, they're not going to, like, kill Yarrick off screen, right? Then a lot of people, rightly so, suggest in the comments, no, Valrak, you're wrong. I think him dying in his bed is actually a good way for Yarrick to die. And looking back on it, yeah, you know, it kind of does make sense. Maybe it is a hero's ending for Yarrick, but from a Games Workshop, from a Games Workshop perspective, surely they want to try and milk this situation for as much money as possible. So I'm thinking that we're definitely going to have some type of book on Yarrick's death, or Yarrick's final stand, or Yarrick's last days, for example. Now, hold on for a second, because we are momentarily going to go down that good old theory hole. So maybe Games Workshop have already gave us a hint on how Yarrick will meet his demise. Now, this has been posted online. I spoke about it the other day on my stream and stuff like that, and you guys gave me feedback about it. If you look at the Angron model, if you zoom in, it's on the screen right now. If you zoom right in on Angron's chest, there is a bunch of skulls. And one of the skulls has Yarrick's eyepiece on there. And there's a theory that this potentially could be Yarrick's skull. Again, this is going really out into fairyland here. A lot of people commented back when I mentioned it, saying, well, the skull looks too big to be Yarrick's skull, but maybe the other skulls are children's skulls, and that is a normal size skull, right? You know, Angron going around killing children, that is kind of an Angron thing to do, and maybe Yarrick was there trying to save the kids, okay? And then Yarrick died in the process, a true hero of the Imperium. I think there's other things on the skull itself, like service studs and stuff, so it may be a Space Marine skull, but hey, right, it's there. Maybe it's a little bit of a Easter egg or something like that. What I do know is that surely Games Workshop has to do some type of story. As I mentioned before, Games Workshop, you know, they are a company that is based on wanting to get money. Technically, if you are a company that's not wanting to get money, you're probably not going to be a company for long. And I theorize that we will get a story about his demise. And I personally think it will be Angron. Now, for those of you who don't know, I mentioned this again on my stream the other night, that in the brand new Imperial Guard Codex, there is a 2-page spread, if I'm not mistaken, called Warzone Armageddon. If you guys want me to do a dedicated video on this, then I will do. I'm just going to briefly summarize it here. But basically, it's the Imperial Guard fighting chaos. There's really no mention of orcs in it at all. They actually do mention, like, I think it's like the angels, I want to say gash or something like that. But it's kind of a hint to like Angron's demise and stuff, and you know, everything like that. But it's Chaos Space Marines, you know, demons and stuff, and they're fighting the Imperial Guard. And I think that, you know, Angron is going to make his comeback on the planet of Armageddon, and I theorize that Angron will bring the death of Commissar Yarrick, and what that could lead to then is a absolutely epic showdown. Because just imagine, right? Well, it either could be Angron or Abaddon. Either one. This could work with either one of them. I'd like to, well, you chaps let me know which one would you prefer. But look at it this way. This is kind of a rip-off of Warhammer Fantasy, by the way, for those of you who remember this storyline. So let's say we have Yarrick, who is this hero, right? Well, he is a hero. He's not. Let's not call him a hero. He is a hero, right? He is killed, let's say, by Angron or Abaddon, right? And then Ghazghkull hears about this, and Ghazghkull is absolutely enraged, like furiously enraged. He knew what Yarrick meant to him. Like, Yarrick was his umie. It belonged to Ghazghkull. Ghazghkull was the only one who was allowed to kill him. So Ghazghkull, hearing Yarrick's death, goes into a frenzy. The orcs themselves go into an absolute frenzy. And then Ghazghkull launches the biggest war we've ever known, not to conquer Armageddon, which he probably could do with it, like the amount of forces he's gathered right now, but to bring revenge for Yarrick's death. Now, let's say in theory that either Angron or Abaddon are about to win this massive battle. Maybe Angron is about to win Armageddon. Maybe Abaddon is about to like take Armageddon, or maybe another planet, you know, which is going to severely smash the Imperium. Maybe Abaddon is like fighting Guilliman, and Guilliman is actually getting his ass beat by Abaddon. He's about to die to Abaddon or something like that. Then out of nowhere, the skies themselves begin to blacken. Like the sun is eclipsed by just a orc fleet that begins to block out everything. Abaddon looks up as the sky starts raining fire. There's rocks, there's ships, there's Daka, everything coming down, smashing on the planet. Huge orc masses are just warring out of everywhere. And then at the forefront of it is Ghazghkull. He charges into the battle with Chaos Space Marines and, Loyalist Space Marines, Loyalist forces. And in that battle, he's like, you took everything from me. And he just completely ass hands Abaddon. He just absolutely batters him, leaves him for dead on the battlefield. Like I said, this is kind of like the Warhammer fantasy with Volton and Archon and stuff like that. For those of you who remember that stuff back then, I'm the bestest, and he just leaves. But yeah, how amazing would that be? That's what I want. I think that is so 40k to me. Like, Chaos are on the threshold of victory, and then an orc with a grudge just turns up just to put every last bit of his plan in the toilet, in the bin, and they have to restart again. Not for any logical point, not to take a world itself, just to prove a point that it's only him that has the right to kill his favorite umie. I don't know about you, but I think that if they write it properly, like I'm just going over like the top of it, if they wrote something on the lines like that, I think it could make for an absolutely fantastic, funny in a way story, but also a grimdark story as well, because there's so much death and despair and blood spilled and stuff like that. I think it really could make for an awesome 40k narrative story, or just book series or book itself. I think it could be great. Anyway, that's something that I would love to see. I'm not sure about you. Do you just want Yarrick to die in his bed like we mentioned at the start? Do you think that's just a more noble way for him to go, just to pass in his sleep, and he lives his eternal service by the Emperor's side, just going like a ship in the night, silent and a nice fond farewell? I think this is now a big step that they're killing off characters like Yarrick. I know a lot of people have argued that, well, maybe it's time for some Space Marine characters to go. And do you know what? I think you're right. I think it is. To be fair, if you're an Imperial Fist player, they kill off our Chapter Master every edition. I won't be surprised in 10th edition, which is coming next year, that they'll kill off one of our Chapter Masters again. Maybe it's time for people like, Kael Sicarius to go, Vulcan Hestan to go. Oh, the Salaman players. I can already hear them raging right now. Anyway, I'd love to get your thoughts, feedback on what situation could arise from this. Do you want Ghazghkull to launch a war? Do you just want Ghazghkull just to ignore it? Post it down below. We can have a nice little talk down there, as we always do. See you now. Have a great day, and bye-bye.